No arms, no legs, no problem. This is Dayton James Webber, and he does more in the morning than most of us do in a week. Without any arms and without any legs, as a quadriplegic, he got up a couple mornings ago and loaded his 9mm. That's right. He put each round individually in the chamber, stuffed it, I guess, with his head, like how he put it in his holster, and he got in his car from his house, cranked up his car, and picked up all his homies. Man, how did we get to this story? I was going through my social media feed, and y'all know I'm looking for the most unusual and unique crime and prison stories there are out there in the internet world, floating around in the atmosphere, and I ran across James Webber, Dayton James Webber. And I'm like, I don't see nothing unusual about this dude until I seen him playing cornhole. That's right, this dude's a cornhole champion. He's a professional cornhole player. And he don't have no arms and no legs. And I'm like watching, I'm intrigued. And he got cornholes like this. And he throws them like that. You want me to do it again? Watch this. I got a headache doing that. So I don't know how he does it. Dayton James Webber, the cornhole. This is his beanbag. And he throws it like that with his neck. And he wins tournaments. He got a lot going for him. In this particular morning, a couple mornings ago, he picked up all his homies. And he's having a good day. You know? And he's a law-abiding citizen, so he got his strap. Man, let me read you this article because it's literally going to blow your mind. And when I went to read this article, when I first heard about it, which was late last night, my wife said, "What you doing?" I said, "I'm looking at this intriguing article and I'm going to do a story about tomorrow." She said, "What's it about?" I said, "A dude who ain't got no arms and legs and he just unalived somebody." She said, "What? Get out of here. I don't believe that." She went online and looked at it and she said, "I can't take it no more. I'm going to sleep." That's right. And it got me to thinking there's other people who were missing body parts, and they were famous on two sides of the spectrum. One became an unaliver, the other one became a private investigator. You're going to want to stick around because I'm going to tell you somebody who was missing body parts, real important body parts, right? And he became a private investigator. Another one who was missing legs, and he still, boom, 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 took someone's out. Anyway, let's check out the article. This is coming from ABC7, News on Your Side. That's right. Quadruple amputee athlete accused of shooting man and dumping his remains in Maryland. This is coming from Thomas Mates and Christine Flores. I want to give credit to the writers of this particular article, and here we go. Dayton James Webber, picture here, 27, of La Plata, was arrested Monday morning in Charlottesville, Virginia. Webber is known as a champion cornhole player, sources confirmed with 7 News. Charles County, Maryland. Dayton James Webber, who had previously captured the attention of ESPN's cameras for his inspirational story as a quadruple amputee turned champion cornhole player, is now having his picture taken by jailhouse cameras after being accused of taking someone's life. According to investigators, Webber, who's 27, of La Plata, and unalived Bradrick Michael Wells, 27, of Waldorf in Charles County, Maryland, Sunday night, according to the sheriff's office. Webber was arrested Monday morning in Charlottesville, Virginia. Webber is known as a professional cornhole player, sources confirmed with 7 News' Brad Bell. Charles County Sheriff's Office spokesperson Diana Richardson said Webber was driving his vehicle when he and unalived Wells, who was in the front seat. 2 more passengers who were sitting in the back, and all 4 passengers that were in the car were friends, according to investigators. Dudes riding around with no arms and no legs, a quadruple paraplegic. And I guess they drive with the steering wheel that comes out like this, and he's spinning, and he's riding, and he got his homies. And they riding around listening to Ice Cube. Today was a good day because it's late Sunday. They done hit the scene, and they're in Maryland. So you know what's going down. Today was a good day. Today was a good day. You know Ice Cube song. You know, and they riding around and 2 of the homies in the back. You know what I mean? And Dayton, he's in the front and he got his strap on. You know what I mean? He got his boom blaster underneath the seat. And he's just sitting, he's driving. Now tell me, now one of the dudes, all 3 other dudes, they all had their arms and legs, but none of them were driving. You know, because Dayton was driving, because Dayton's running the show. He's a shot caller, obviously. You know what I mean? Cornhole champion, shot caller. He even got images of himself on TikTok with the blaster to Nina, and he's showing people how he does it, loads it, and blah, 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 does target practice. Man, Dayton is all around. You know, he the type of dude, when you look at Dayton, you look at your life and you're like, dang, what I'm doing with myself. This dude right here ain't got no arms and no legs, and he's accomplishing more in a day than I do in a week or a month. Man, he even took out his friend. Blam, blam, gangsters are envious of Dayton. Here we go. Detectives believe Webber and Wells had gotten into an argument in the moments leading up to the unaliving. I know it escalated rather quickly, but we don't know what the argument was about. And that's something hopefully we're going to learn, Richardson said. The unaliving has made headlines nationally, with many asking how Webber, who lost arms and legs as a baby due to a bacterial infection, could allegedly carry out this type of crime. I was asking the same thing at first, till I saw his TikTok videos. Go look on TikTok, Dayton Webber. That's right, this dude, you can't show it here, but they really show him. I'm gonna try to put a picture up with blurring out the blaster. You know what I mean? He was literally boom, 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 doing, showing people how to target practice. All right, Richardson pointed to the videos Webber posted on his own YouTube page that shows him with his shooting abilities, which is used for sport. What I would say to answer any questions about how he did this, I would simply refer to people to the internet. They can go to his YouTube page. Richardson said, Mr. Webber is a well-documented individual. There's been many stories written about him and plenty of videos to see. In this article, they showed the video of him, doing his target practice. Soon after the shooting, investigators said Webber then pulled over in an area of Radio Station Road and Lano Drive and asked the other passengers in the back seat to help him pull the body from the car. The witnesses refused and got out the car before Webber drove off. Now you with your homies and you ain't got no arms and your legs and you riding and you just blasted the fool next to you. And listen, I don't use the fool as a derogatory term. I'm just telling a story, so relax. My heart really does go out to the victim. The victim, I don't know what happened. I'm sure as this story unfolds, we'll find out. But for the purpose of me telling my story, I get animated. So please forgive me if I was offensive by using the term fool, because I believe the person that lost his life by no means is a fool, and by no means he should have lost his life over an argument. That is what is actually foolish. Remember, on the Pen and The Shank, the most unusual and unique crime and prison channel experience on YouTube, the victims always come first. Now, the two passengers then flagged down a police officer just before 10:30 p.m. on Sunday night. So Dayton, he blasted this dude next to him who's his friend, and then he asked his other friends who were in the back, help me throw the body out the car. And his friends were like, no way. They didn't want no part of it. And good for them, because I wouldn't want no part of it either. So he drops them off, and I saw a map, y'all. There's literally a map of timelines on where Dayton did everything, from the time that he unalived his friend to the time he asked his friends to help him get rid and dispose of the body, to them saying, no, we refuse, and he drops them off, which is right a couple blocks from where the initial unaliving took place. Then Dayton, who don't have no arms and legs, so many miles away from the scene, doesn't know what to do. He gets out the car and he pulls his friend's body out the car that he already unalived, and he ain't got no arms and legs, and he pulls the body out the car, and then he travels across state lines. They catch him in Virginia. You know what I mean? I'm assuming, dozens of miles away, and he ain't got no arms and legs, and he's eluding police. This is a crazy story. We do have witnesses who saw the entire thing happen, Richardson said. They flagged down an officer who was passing by and gave us information that was relevant to his apprehension. Residents who live in the community where Webber allegedly tried getting the other passengers to help him move the victim's body told 7 News they could not believe this was what the commotion was about Sunday night and again Monday afternoon. Officers returned to the scene Monday. 7 News observed the canine sniffing in a field and near several homes in the neighborhood. Christopher Nevitt lives in the community and told 7 News he had recently played cornhole with Webber at a tournament in a nearby restaurant. People know this dude. He's really a professional cornhole player. I played with him a couple of times at Green Turtle. They used to have tournaments there, Nevitt said. Obviously, people start shooting texts back and forth, no pun intended. Hey, did you see this? You're like, I just saw that guy not too long ago. Deputies said Webber drove away from Radio Station Road area with the body still in the car. Nearly 2 hours later, someone living in 1,000 block of Newport Church Road in Charlotte Hall reported a body was found in their front yard. Imagine coming home or walking out in your front yard on Sunday evening to take the trash out or, to take that final, decompression to get your mind together before you start work on Monday, and you look and somebody's laying unalived in your grass, in your driveway. Investigators say Webber's car was tracked down to Charlottesville. He was found at a nearby hospital being treated for a medical issue, according to the release. Webber was released and arrested. I don't know why Dayton Webber went to the hospital across state lines, or what his injury was. I'm assuming that when he blasted the blaster, it was probably so close to him, and he did target practice, but he wasn't used to doing what he did. He took another man's final breath. And so maybe he hurt himself, kickback, recoil, whatever, could have got him, gunpowder. And so you never know what really happened. So Nevitt told 7 News, "It is upsetting to hear someone who had been an inspiration to so many who is now the prime suspect in an unaliving. To go from that type of stuff with what he's been dealt with in life to this very much is a shock to the community," Nevitt said. "He's definitely made a bad decision, no doubt about it. Let the courts do their thing and prove it that way. But if it needs to pay the consequences for his actions, he should." And I agree. We're not going to show sympathy to Dayton Webber. I don't know what got into his head and what got into his mind. I'm sorry he lost his arms and legs as a kid due to bacteria, but he went on to do more than most of us do with arms and legs. Dude, you was an inspiration. And just like that, you threw it all down the toilet. Hopefully he can change his life, but he does need to go to prison. If you commit a crime, even if you are paralyzed and you know what you did, his mind wasn't paralyzed, he needs to go to jail. And remember, there's a person whose family's grieving, him not being here anymore. This is tragic all the way around, y'all. 7 News on your side reached out to the American Cornhole League to ask if Webber was still an active player and if they had a statement. A spokesperson provided the following response: "Dayton Webber has been an active participant with the American Cornhole League since late 2024. The ACL is aware of the reports regarding allegations involving Webber. This is an extremely serious matter, and our thoughts are with all those impacted, including the family and loved ones of Bradrick Michael Wells, the victim. At this time, this remains an active legal situation. We respect the judicial process and will not comment on specific allegations or details while proceedings are ongoing. We will provide updates if and when it is appropriate to do so. But for the meantime, the league will have no further comment." End of quote. Webber is now facing extradition back to Charles County, where he will face charges of first-degree murder, second-degree murder, and other related charges. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers. Y'all, so when I saw this, I thought, this isn't precedent, because I remembered, right? Oscar Pistorius. Do you remember Oscar Pistorius? Here's a picture of him. The Blade Runner, that was his nickname, from South Africa, who boom, 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 4 times through his own bathroom door, put slugs in his girlfriend, whose name was Reva Steinkamp. Reva Steinkamp, here's her picture. She's the victim. She lost her life. Her family's still living life without this woman. This guy, Oscar Pistorius, claimed that he thought there was intruders in his bathroom, and that's why he unalived, Reva. Now, it was a big deal because he was on all the Olympic channels, the Blade Runner. Y'all probably remember the Blade Runner, but he took his girlfriend's last breath because of insecurity, in my opinion. Now, he went to prison. He was convicted by a South African court, and he recently made parole in 2024. I haven't heard much about him since 2024. And this dude was also someone who didn't have his limbs. He still had his arms, but he was missing his legs. And he went on to do this terrible thing. So now we got Oscar Pistorius, and now we got Dayton James Webber. Here they go right there. Both of them did terrible things. And so it gets you to thinking, how can they accomplish so much with the odds stacked against them and then commit these horrible crimes? And it got me to thinking, are they the only ones? And I remembered my boy, JJ Armes. That's right. His name is JJ Armes. And he was so inspirational. He didn't take anyone's life. He helped solve crimes. He was so inspirational. And he lost both his hands as a little boy playing with railroad explosives. When he hit them together, boom! couple inches below his wrist. They had to take both his arms. But instead of doing what these fools did, he went on to start a detective business, solving crimes. That's right, private investigator, JJ Armes. This is an actual action figure that I have in my collection from Ideal Toys that they made in the 1970s of a man who does not have does not have hands. As you look closer in the picture, you see he's got these grappling hooks and he's going down this rope. And if you look on the side, you got different accessories for JJ Armes. You know, these are all awesome things that he could do. He got suction cup hands. Look at that. He's climbing up a wall with suction cup hands. And so one of the accessories that come in the accessory pack right here, I know there's a glare, is suction cup hands. And he's got a briefcase. But you can't see it. But underneath down, if you look, this is an unopened toy from the 70s. It's, you know, it's a collectible. But he don't have no arms. No hands. And JJ Armes went on to do a good thing. I'm going to show y'all the back of the box. Look at that. JJ Armes, all the stuff he could do, solve crimes. He can do positive for his community. And look at all the accessories you get. Suction cup arms, sword arms, lock cutter arms. He even, just like Dayton, who was a quadriplegic and took his friend's life cruising on a Sunday afternoon, JJ Armes, he did the right thing. And look, he got a blaster too. It comes in the accessory pack, right? He even got a flashlight. You could put flashlight in one hand, blast in the other. You know what I mean? Can you imagine no hands? And so he did something good and he didn't do nothing bad. But my boys, Oscar Pistorius and Dayton James Webber, they savages and they got victims. They took lives of people. Man, welcome to the Pen and The Shank. Like I said, the most unusual and unique crime and prison channel experience on YouTube. Give me a like and subscribe. I promise you, I'm going to keep bringing you the most unusual and unique stories that are floating out there in the internet world. And I'm going to grab them and bring them in. And we're going to talk about them. And I'm going to put my own unique and unusual twist and my own perspective and give you my opinion on what's going on. Just like the Blade Runner and just like the Cornhole Champion. Here, I'm going to give it to you one more time. This is what he was doing. Now, he's going to have to, how you going to shank? How you going to shank in prison? Come here, man, I'll shank you up. Now he's going to have to carry that shank because he about his business, obviously. He going to be coming down the walk like this, making my food, man. Phone check, fool. Shank you. Shank, 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 shank. I just want to take a moment to add a afterthought credit to the video that you just watched and say rest in peace to Chuck Norris. And the reason I'm saying rest in peace to Chuck Norris, obviously, is that Chuck Norris just recently passed away. And what made me think of it even more was that JJ Armes, the person that I spoke about in my video, and I'm going to put a picture of JJ right here. His inspiration in life as a young boy who had lost both hands was inspired by Chuck Norris. So Chuck Norris helped JJ Armes, a good man who lived to be 94 years old, might I add. He looked up to Chuck Norris as a young boy. And when he saw Chuck Norris, it inspired him to be a private investigator, because Chuck Norris did karate and JJ Armes went on to train in a bunch of different things. And so I want to acknowledge no matter what we go through in life, it's up to us to choose to do right and wrong. And all jokes aside, Oscar Pistorius and Dayton James Webber, they chose to make the wrong decision. And JJ Armes chose to make the right decision. It's up to us, y'all, every day, even as ex-cons, convicted felons, or no matter who you are, you may have never been convicted of a crime. Every day you have an opportunity to make a good decision or a bad decision. And it just takes one bad decision, not just to wreck your life, but to wreck the lives of others. Because right now, as we speak, the family of Broderick Wells is going through, tragedy. And his family is going to likely have an uphill battle to go through a grieving process now that they have to have this new normal of life without Broderick. So there's always tragedy. And I just want to say that my heart also goes out to the family of Broderick. And as details emerge, maybe we'll cover the topic a little more on the Pen and The Shank. But give me a like and subscribe. Share this video. Comment down below. The comments help push this video out, and it's going to help the channel grow. Help the Pen and The Shank grow to a big channel and help us to get more reach, as we seek to do something positive in the community and tell stories in an unusual and unique manner. And I appreciate everyone who's been along for the journey. And if you're just jumping on board, welcome to the community.